Hello, darlings. How are you today? Our haircut today is a blunt horizontal bob. So my friends didn't like the dark one on me, so it kind of made me age, so I got to grab the light one. But what we're going to do today is we are going to cut a basic 0-degree haircut, which means we are not going to have any elevation. I'm also going to teach you this as an undercut and how to change it not to an undercut as we work along. Basically, we'll get rid of the wig here, and we will get Miss Deborah. So, I grabbed a doll that had been pre-cut. So not every guest we're going to get is a brand new mannequin head. So I'm going to have to create this haircut on a previous haircut. I am blind as a bat, so sorry, I got to do little rings around the eyes today. So basically, we are going to set this doll up in a couple ways. We are going to put a center parting down the back, and we are going to put a radial parting from ear to ear. So remember, that's the apex to about 1 finger behind the ear, and all that. So we're going to set up our doll that way. We are also going to isolate her bangs, because I will teach you how to cut square bangs today or horizontal bangs today. Our parting will be horizontal because of the head. We're going to arch it just a little bit, but basically our finger angle is going to mirror our parting just like it did the other day. So I did a long version. Now we've got a kind of shorter version going on here. So what I'm going to do is I want to section this in the back. Notice today the haircut is wet. The other day it was dry. So I'm going to do a wet cut today. Notice I did not wet her down with a spray bottle. I got her totally wet and shampooed and hair conditioned. And I urge you to do this with your customers all the time, to go ahead and get them shampooed. Dirty hair does not cut well. If they say they have already shampooed, wouldn't you love a wonderful head massage with some conditioner? So there's your other option for that. So this gets me totally wet hair. I like these clips a lot. As Sam Villa would say, legs up. And it just gets the hair out of the way. There we go. There's the other one. I'm going to start on this side, my left hand, folks. You will find the other side is easier. Okay? Don't want to leave you guys out at all. Again, apex to 1 finger behind the ear. The comb touches my finger, and I do a little pull apart action there. If you haven't noticed, I'm still learning how to use the camera and staying out of the way. And I'm learning all the technology to get this downloaded for you guys. By the way, if you have any questions, you can always message me on my Instagram page. It is GLAM1956 or Larry G Hair. You can message me there. My Facebook page is Larry Grosclose. You can messenger me there as well, and I will answer any of your questions, because I have not figured out how to use the app. So we've got these little bangs here. So if I want to isolate my bangs, I'm going to go at the corner of the eyebrow, walk the comb up the head, right there, so that isolated one side of her bangs. Again, and we're trying to find that brow bone, okay? That's what we're going for. We're going for a brow bone. There, and up we go. So we want to part these out of the way. I'm not a big twister, but I'm sure my guest does not want this hanging in her face the whole time I'm cutting the back. So I am going to twist that up, get it out of the way. I'm not going to put a hard twist into it though. Okay. So this is, we talked about head position. If I'm wanting an undercut, this is the time my customer or my guest is going to lean forward because basically the hair has to travel around the head shape so the haircut gets longer. The hair underneath is shorter. The hair perpetually gets longer. In the blow dry, it tucks under. It doesn't really bevel because we have not cut a 45-degree haircut. So, but it will give that feeling of a bevel. I am going to basically take a section and I'm going to arc it or slightly invert it to this corner right here. I'm going to take this hair out of my way. Notice I've still got her parted down. So in this process, this hair is going to come down and we're going to cut it the same way as my parting. Okie dokie. Can you see? Now if I want tension, which I do in this case, I am going to use the back of my hand to hold the hair. I could also use the teeth of my comb. This way the hair is not going to move. Or I can use 2 fingers. I do want tension, so I am going to, there we go, putting my comb in my other hand, picking up my shears, and I won't be putting them down again, and cutting the line. And a recomb, holding my hair. This works much better on skin, by the way. And I should be standing in front of this section, but I'm not because I want you to see. But normally I would be right here, so. My shears are not terribly sharp. There we go. I'm going to take the same parting on my opposite side and mirror it. I want to take about the same amount of hair out and mirror that. So a couple of things I could do to make sure I'm getting the same length on both sides. Grabbing hair from the same place, bring it over to here, and cut it. Or I could actually literally measure it with my comb. So on this side, that did not do it. Let's try this with a sharper pair of shears. There we go. And I'm going to check it so that I have the same shape on both sides. Okay? Now I can go back forth, I can go all the way up this head shape. Notice each time you let it down, you'll be letting down more hair. So I'm going to take it to my occipital. Combing it down, holding it. Can you see your guide through the bottom's hairs? Yes, I can. If I can't, I'm going to take a smaller parting. And here's where it's going to start getting longer, right here in this corner. And I'm going to go under here. Believe me, when I tell you this holds on much better on human skin than it does the plastic. Whenever I feel my hair's getting dry, I am going to spritz it down with my water. If you want to be really, really nice, you can heat the water up for your guest. This is probably a little bit bigger parting that I would take, but I'm doing some time management here. So that... Now there's a true undercut when I've taken all of the hair and pulled it down. Now, if I did not want a full undercut, as I was cutting up the sections, I would have my customer raise her hair up and see. There we go. So you can do it either way. There we go. There's my next parting. And you work with as small a section as you feel comfortable with. I'm doing these in bigger sections for the sheer purpose of speed. I know teeny tiny sections are not terribly fun to watch as a video, so I'm taking a little bit bigger sections. Notice I'm cutting on each side of the center because the head shape pivots here. If I just cut a straight line, I'm not going to get as nice a shape. Okay? Cool. And on this side, I'm going to have my guest raise her head by this point, and I'm not going to cut it as an undercut. I'm just going to cut it as a blunt. Okay? So you have a choice there in that procedure. Notice my wrist, it's not twisted. And then I want to check and see I've got the same shape. If I've got the same length on both sides, bring it to the back. There we go. You can actually feel your length, okay? So for my right-handed gang, we are now going to make a horizontal line here at the ear. We're not going to tip this one forward a lot. We are in our next one. I'll show you a different version of this. So we're going to create a horizontal line. Here's the get-go, ladies and gentlemen. We tend to, on this side, want to go diagonal forward, so we need to watch that. When we're on this side, we want to go diagonal back. So we need to recompensate, first of all, for our natural inclination. Also, there's an ear here that will collapse if you put on it. So we cannot put a ton of tension on her hair. Here's her horizontal parting, because our finger angle is also going to be horizontal. And I'm going to comb this down. I'm not going to use a lot of tension. I'm going to use the length of the hair from behind the ear. So one thing I may want to do is I am going to gently tap on this hair to take off my tension. If I want to make sure I have a horizontal line, I'm going to use my comb to tell me that. Notice I've got a light comb with dark hair. You can either hold the piece and I cut too far on my hand, or you can also take the comb, come up under and hold the hair. There we go. I'm going to let the next piece down. Holding the two sections together, tapping, or I can take my guest and have her lean her head over, and if I elevate it slightly because her head is tilted, I will still have a 0-degree elevation. Cutting to my second knuckle, coming around, recombing. There we go. Other side. Again, horizontal parting. I'm using the length from behind the ear as my guide. Tilting her. Taking the tension off the ear. Notice Deborah's ear doesn't move a whole lot. Letting that next section down. Now normally, if I were in correct body position, I would be in front of girlfriend. But I'm hanging out over here where you guys can see, okay? So you student teachers also watch these kind of things when you're cutting, because I've seen a lot of people do haircut demos and you never see what they're doing because they are standing in front of the section like they're supposed to, but in the process, no one in the class can. And the side is a little longer, so let me come back. There it is right there. Ha. Making sure I'm not going diagonal back on this panel. There we go. So here's the trick with bangs. What I'm not cutting gets clipped away. Okay. Because I do not want to put a slight gap into this part of the haircut. I'm going to comb her hair down. Remember, we want horizontal bangs. I would normally stand directly in front of her. I'm going to always cut these a little longer when they're wet because, you know, if they shrink up, I got a problem. We talked about this the other day. We're going to have her quiet, be quiet. We're going to have her close her eyes because she don't want her flinching and carrying on and all that. Some people talk and they elevate their eyebrows, and if that's the goal, oops, got a short haircut. I'm going to come in with my teeth of my comb. And I'm horizontal. And I'm holding. See, there is no elevation at all. Going under. Making sure all of my hair is. If I need to hold it, I can do that as well. And horizontal. There's a little one. And I'm going to blow dry those and check those. So I'm going to blow dry my doll and I'll get right back with you guys, okay? So I've wrap dried and round brushed my hair, and I've taken it from hot to cold. I'm looking at my dry haircut. Pretty much looks like what we talked about. I am seeing some issues though that I've got to dry cut out. The bangs are a little slanted. I see not a horizontal line over here. So sometimes after you do the blow dry, you will have to go in and dry cut. Sometimes I will dry cut as I blow dry. A lot of my friends think that's too time consuming. But I'm not loving the angle right here. I'm going to go in and clean that up. There we go. Now, that's not going to bother me because I had a divot this way and that way. So I wanted to clean that up. I feel like she's pretty much the same length on each side. Going to kind of walk around her perimeter, make sure everything's a-okay. A lot of times with my customer, I am going to lean them forward, and I can take my edger and zzz, zzz. In this case, I'm going to lean her forward and clean up her perimeter line. Sometimes that just needs to be done since that is shorter. So put her back where she was. Keep combing the hair into its natural fall. That's the biggest part of this haircut, is in its natural fall. Because once you blow dry it, it will go into its natural fall, and then it's going to lay the way it's going to lay. So I'm going to be right in front of the bangs this time. And I'm going to hold it to the skin. And get that little corner right there. And I'm going to come in and chip out these little hairs that I don't like. I don't want to cut into my main body of the haircut, so I'm going to pull that back. There we go. And we can also point cut these bangs. You can just add a little slight texture to them. That would be another thing we can do to just make them really pretty and soft. I think we got that haircut done. So there is a shorter bob. Great for a little girl. Great for a very vintage 20s kind of look. Can I make it longer? Yeah, I don't have to cut it this short. I wanted to show you this kind of a shorter version. I'm going to show you another one called the 6-panel bob, and it's going to go more like an A-line. But I just want to do a traditional undercut. You do have clients that ask for that. Sometimes when people ask for undercuts, what they're truly asking for is for you to shave out all the occipital. That's the new undercut. This is the more classic undercut, old school undercut, whatever you want to call it. But there will be people that want the entire occipital shaved, and then this piece will lay on top of it. So you'll shave the under piece and then just do the top. So I've had a great time doing this. The diagram is right there on the board. If you have any questions, please question me on Instagram. That's my favorite way to go. GLAM1956 or Larry G Hair. So I'm on either one of those. One's my fun site, one's my professional site. Again, you can also messenger me at Larry Grossclose, and that is GROSECLOSE. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.